Here are Liverpool's Napoli starting 11. Jürgen Klopp may have planned for wholesale changes for Liverpool's final Champions League group game against Napoli on Tuesday, but he knows his team desperately needs a positive outcome following Saturday's defeat to Leeds. Luciano Spalletti's team won 4-1 when they faced off at Diego Armando Maradona Stadium in September and remained undefeated in Serie A and Champions League this season. Liverpool, who have won all 4 of their group games since the defeat at Napoli, have already booked their place in the qualifying stages, but they know they must win by 4 or more goals on Tuesday to qualify as the group winners ahead of Napoli. Given the contrasting form of the two teams, this obviously seems highly unlikely. So it will be interesting to see how Klopp approaches this game in terms of team selection. This will be the Reds' 10th game since their reunion after the international hiatus in September, with less than 2 weeks before their campaign comes to a halt for the World Cup. Given their busy schedules and the fact that Liverpool have already qualified, Klopp may want to rotate his squad for this fixture, but he doesn't look like he's willing to risk another embarrassing result at Anfield. Following Liverpool's miserable defeat against Leeds, Klopp said some members of his team felt overdone this season. But he added that this would not be a game for big rotation, given Napoli's excellent form this season, he told reporters on Monday. One player that looks likely to come is Ibrahima Konate, who has recently returned from injury and whom Klopp says has a good chance. James Milner attended the press conference on Monday, which is usually an indication that he will be playing the next day. With all that in mind, Liverpool's 11 is expected to come out with this 11 against Napoli. Alisson at goal, Milner at right, Konate and Van Dijk at centre-back, Robertson at left-back, Henderson, Jones and Thiago at midfield, Firmino, Salah and Nunez on the forward line. New signing to replace Takumi Minamino. If asked who is Atalanta's best goal scorer so far this season, most football fans will say one of the 2 Colombians on Gasperini's squad, Luis Muriel and Ivan Zapata. These answers are understandable given how productive both have been for the Serie A side over the past few years. The duo has scored nearly 139 goals since playing together. If you name either one though, you're wrong. Atalanta's best shooter this season is Ademola Lookman. Returning to the club in the summer, Lookman has been one of the flash names of the season in Italy's best flight so far. The former Everton and Leicester striker signed from Leipzig for around £13 million and was expected by many to be a team player, replacing Muriel and Zapata should the duo need a timeout or be unavailable. But things did not go as planned. Instead, Lookman took on the role in Gasperini's new-looking tactical system. Gasperini's decision depended primarily on the fact that his squad lacked offensive ability in midfield. It's a reason similar to the system Jürgen Klopp has changed at Liverpool this season due to injuries. He has now moved to a more conservative 3-5-2 formation and Lookman is often backed up by another forward. The star player finally scored his goal against Empoli. For Lookman, this was his 5th league goal in just 8 starts. After struggling to fit in the Bundesliga and Leipzig, he seems to have found a home in northern Italy as he hasn't left much of a mark at Everton. Given his impressive start in Serie A, clubs in the Premier League will no doubt keep an eye out for the London-born forward to encourage his return in the future. Moreover, given that Liverpool has a gap in his role, it becomes a very logical target. The Lookman is impressive for now, but it will take some more time to see its full performance. It will be important to see if he can maintain that form in the spring of 2023. He doesn't have to be a straight forward for Liverpool. He can mostly take his place in the role of Takumi Minamino or Divock Origi. A team player who can come and do a job for Klopp when needed. FSG did not replace this squad role during the summer. Minamino, Origi and Sadio Mane left, only Darwin Nunez and, to a lesser extent, Fabio Carvalho transferred. That has disappointed Klopp this season and it's clear that another player is needed. Lookman is a well-suited target for this role. Moreover, he is still young enough. Indeed, even with another season or 2 at Bergamo, he could still join Liverpool and be young enough to play a part. Lookman is someone to watch over the next year to see how he develops further under Gasperini's watch. Liverpool and FSG did not choose another name to replace Minamino and Origi, but starting the season like this proved them wrong. Lookman has the construction of the ideal solution for this role. His history at Everton may add some controversy, but seeing him do well at Anfield can make for even sweeter rivalry. Liverpool can solve the midfield problem with the Napoli star. In the summer of 2018, Fulham managed to advance from the Championship to the Premier League and spent more than £100 million attacking the transfer market. Joining the roster that transfer window, Anguissa seemed like a smart signing, ranking as one of the most active defensive midfielders on the Cameroonian international continent. He was only 21 at the time. Besides his defensive actions, he seemed skilled in tight spaces and was quite physically strong. After the Cottagers were relegated, instead of playing in the Championship, he was loaned to Villarreal and performed well in Spain. However, the Yellow Submarine was unable to raise money to keep him and allowed Naples to charter him for the following year. Anguissa spent 12 months on loan with Napoli before the Serie A club signed him permanently for just £13 million this summer. Now, it forms a central part of one of the most exciting teams of recent times. Napoli are unbeaten this season. They played 17 matches and won 15 of them. Before the Champions League match to be played with Liverpool at Anfield tonight, the 13-game winning streak still continues. The last time the two sides met in September, the Italian team beat Liverpool 4-1 and Anguissa hit the net in the 31st minute. Meanwhile, Liverpool has had a disastrous campaign so far. The Reds are 9th in the Premier League table and have only won 50% of their 18 games played in all competitions. Many of his problems seem to stem from aging midfielders. It is quite remarkable that no central midfielder between the ages of 22 to 28 has played a single minute of football with Liverpool in the Premier League this season. Klopp's options are either crippled, too old, or too young. Anguissa, now 26, was a typical Liverpool target if Fulham had been relegated years ago. He was young, looked good in numbers, had a multifunctional skill set and had a physical advantage in his game. Picking up relegated players has been almost a tactic at Merseyside over the years. Gini Wijnaldum, Xherdan Shaqiri and Andy Robertson became cheap signings after teams like Newcastle United, Stoke City and Hull City were dropped from the Premier League. Anguissa was a player Liverpool decided to ignore when they suffered from Fulham's decline in 2019. They will definitely benefit from his presence, just like Naples right now. He'll be playing as an opponent tonight, and Klopp may have found a solution while still trying to figure out how to fix his troubled engine room. Do you think Anguissa is an ideal candidate for Liverpool's midfield?